Today I decided to go ahead and bring dinosaurs back to Texas. They say everything's bigger in Texas, and the dinosaurs are no different. From the absolutely massive airplane-sized quetzalcoatlus to towering sauropods, and even some of the largest apex predators, such as my personal favorite, the acrocanthosaurus, as well as the infamous Tyrannosaurus rex. Texas is home to many incredible dinosaur species, big and small. And that got me wondering, what would it look like if we brought those amazing creatures back to the Texas that we know of today? And so that is exactly what I set out to do in Jurassic World Evolution 2. I used the classic square grid line sort of technique in order to get the shape down, and I think that it actually ended up turning out really nice, so I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. That being said, you'll see me go in and add a bunch of details that make Texas the way it is now, and this was a really tricky decision to make because the dinosaurs did not live on Texas as it is today. They lived at a very different time whenever this was really a huge intercoastal seaway. Much of Texas was just covered by kind of like a shallow ocean at the time, and so that kind of created one of the very first decisions that I had to go in and make. Am I going to go with a Texas as we know it today, or do I try and recreate what it would have looked like back then during the dinosaur times? But if I did that, then that raised an entire new set of questions, because as I'm sure many of you already know, to put it in scientific terms, dinosaurs were around for a really freaking long amount of time. So then we'd have to make decisions based on, well, what time period are we going to go for? Are we going to go for more of the Triassic or the Cretaceous period? And what species are we going to try and represent if we do one of those? So instead, I scrapped all of that and I just decided to go with the current conditions and climate that we have here today. Okay, it might not be perfect, but I think that's about as good of a Texas as I can make. We got our oaky sort of central Texas area with our hill country, which is basically just this little hill right here. Come out to East Texas, and that's where you start to get into a little bit more of like pine tree sort of looking stuff. Come out to West Texas, and that's where you get all these just like rocky desert mountains and everything. Come down here. These are all the little Mediterranean trees and stuff that the game has. And these kind of just look like little like mesquite sort of bushes, or just, you know, just like arid sort of plants like that. Even though it's all wrong with the scale and everything, I think that this is probably about as good as we can do. The mountains don't look very big once you actually have like plants and everything down here, but I mean, give me some slack. There's only so much we can do. So that's kind of that. I guess all that's left to do is to add the dinosaurs. Then once we had that built, as you can see me doing here, then I start to go in and I do a bunch of research trying to figure out what dinosaurs were here and where in Texas were they found. The information I was receiving was definitely unclear, but I did go in and spend a lot of time researching this and trying to get it as accurate as I possibly could. Another awesome feature about this Texas area is that we do also have access to the coast. Just southeast of us, we have the Gulf of Mexico, where we can feature some mosasaurs, some plesiosaurs, and ichthyosaurs. Now, we did have to go in and install a mod to kind of do some of this, because I wanted to be able to put down these lagoons without it looking like there were just lagoons there. Like with every good mod on the Nexus forums, it's by Kyodinic, so we installed that one, and that allows us to put these lagoons down underneath the land, which then we could like dip our terrain down into the lagoon and make it look like a natural transition from land to sea. And I think that turned out really good. But that's enough with all the boring details about how we actually made the land. Let's get to the dinosaurs and all the fun creatures. Here you can see we've got my personal favorite dinosaur, the acrocanthosaurus. Slightly tweaked to look a little bit more like an acrocanthosaurus. It's not super modified, but it is subtly tweaked, and I think that it just looks a little bit better than the big fat puppy dog that is in the original game. And now you can see me going over to the West Texas area, where you can see me introducing the quetzalcoatlus, as well as the torosaurus, Struthiomimus, Coelophysis, and the infamous Tyrannosaurus rex. I believe that when it was all said and done, we ended up with a list of Acrocanthosaurus, Iguanodon, Coelophysis, Struthiomimus, Quetzalcoatlus, Poposaurus, but there's not a creature for that or a mod for that, so we actually just put in Notosaurus to kind of replicate that, Tyrannosaurus, Edmontosaurus, Torosaurus, Mosasaurus, Plesiosaurus, Ichthyosaurus, and Sauroposeidon, which is supposed to represent Paluxosaurus jonesii, which is actually our state dinosaur, which will be coming into play for a future video coming out, so be on the lookout for that. So quite the list there. but a lot of really cool creatures that I didn't know we had. In my mind growing up, I always considered Texas as like, oh, we don't really have anything. We can just get some like footprints if we're lucky, and then maybe like West Texas has quetzalcoatlus. I didn't realize we had such a rich, awesome history of dinosaur activity. So that was really fun to learn about. When choosing the different numbers for all these different species, I was trying to do things that felt fairly balanced, doing a bunch of herbivores, mostly, the small creatures, and then as you go up the food chain, there's less and less of them, so only a few apex predators, only a few big sauropods, and much more Struthiomimus and small creatures like that. And I think that gave us a pretty nice looking balance. And speaking of that balance, something that I just discovered that was really freaking awesome, there's another mod out there that allows you to design programmable dinosaur spawners, which basically just allow you to have fully functioning ecosystems. For this whole thing, I turned off dinosaur combat, dinosaur hunting, all that sort of aggression, stuff like that, because I know that the carnivores would just instantly slaughter all the herbivores and we'd be left with nothing left standing except for one species, and that's not what I wanted. But thanks to this programmable feeders mod, you're able to do some awesome stuff. You're able to go into this item, it just looks like an invisible feeder, and what it does is it checks the entire map for the number of Struthiomimus on the map, and if that number of Struthiomimus dips below our target population, for this park I've set it at 21, then go ahead and release more. And so what that allows us to do is we can then go and turn on hunting and everything, allow our carnivores to hunt, and then we actually have what looks like sustaining populations, because our smaller herbivores at the bottom of the food chain are like quote-unquote reproducing thanks to this spawner that's just constantly replenishing them. And I thought that was so awesome. I kind of knew that this mod existed, but I never really looked into it. I've never used it before, and boy do I wish I had done it sooner. This is giving me so many awesome ideas that I want to go and check out that I've been missing out on this whole time. If you guys haven't used this mod before and you have the ability to go and use it, I would highly recommend doing it. It's so awesome. Absolute game changer. But with that being said, after I set up all of these automatic dispensers, I kind of just let it play out for a while and see how things balanced out and looked, and I think that we made a really awesome park. I was really happy the way that this turned out. And so that's going to be pretty much it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know this is probably a little bit of a shorter video, but I thought this was something that was really cool, and I hope that you all think it's just as cool. I know that I'm definitely going to be biased towards this since I am from Texas. I know that a lot of you either aren't from Texas or not even from the US at all. So hopefully you still have interest in this. I think it was a lot of fun. Let me know down below too if you guys have any interest in these maps that I'm making. If y'all be interested in them and you maybe want to have them downloadable and stuff like that, then let me know, and maybe I can figure out a way to go and put these up on Nexus forums or do some sort of system where you guys can download these maps and play with them yourself. Last but not least, before I get too carried away, huge shout out to James White 4987 for being our latest subscriber of the week. You, my friend, have been here on the channel, showing support, leaving comments, liking videos, just being an awesome person, and I just want to recognize you for that, and thank you for your continued support here on the channel. Here's to you, James White. If you at home would like to be a future subscriber of the week like James just did, then all you gotta do is hang out, leave comments, like videos, join the Discord, just hang out, have a good time. And that's all you gotta do. It's free, it's easy, and it's the best way to support the channel if you care about what we're doing here. With that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in today. It means the world to me that you're here, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.